Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right. Welcome to the CWC Podcast, the home for the latest news, rumors, and interviews from around the sport of chuckwagon racing. I'm your host, David Selby, and I'm joined by my co-host, Savannah Smith. It's just us today. We don't have Andy. We don't have Justin. They've both got stuff going on, mostly Andy. Justin, he has called in sick. So
he's got some sickness going on.
Allegedly. Yeah, we don't know for sure that is actually happening. We haven't seen him. He just said he was sick. So we choose to report that as the news.
Well, says the man who came in questioning if he might be a little sick this morning.
Yeah, but you know what? Here I am, alive and in the flesh. And this show gives me the energy. This show heals me. And so that's why I'm here. But no, we got a good show today. On today's show, we have the secretary of the Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association on the show. It's Nancy Pillow. She's been heavily involved with the association for many years. And she's seen the sport grow. She's seen it shrink, and she's seen it grow again. And so in a year where memberships are at an all-time high, it's going to be fun to get her thoughts, see what's been happening within the sport of chuckwagon racing from her perspective. It's going to be a good time. It's all coming up on the CWC Podcast.
All right.
Good intro, right? Pretty cool. Yeah.
Solid.
Well, I guess before we bring her on, I'll just go ahead and say, come on over, subscribe, relive the ride, chuckwagonchannel.com. We'd love to have you. $99 a year, $11 a month. You can cancel anytime. Don't forget, we've got everything that we've been doing on there, along with some great series. We've got the Great Wagon Race. We've got Building Spain coming out later this year, I should say. And there's a lot of good content. It's getting a little bit better all the time. We've got the races from Cow Cutter wrapping up. We're putting those on there. We've also got
live.
They're live.
They are on the app right now. You can go watch them tonight.
Yes, and those look great. And I'm even as excited, or maybe even a little bit more excited, to unveil what we have for Tuscumbia, which ended up being a big turnout. Really cool track, and we've got just a nice edit that Savannah has done on that, and I'm really proud of her, what she's doing, and I'm excited to show it to you all. So without further ado, we're going to bring Nancy in here and see if her camera's up to par. Here we go.
Hello, Nancy.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm okay. It's been a day. So.
Well, hey, we appreciate you getting on here and actually getting on a little bit early. I know that you said 6:30 is what you told me.
Right.
And
well, I work from 6 to 6, and I just got lucky today that everybody got picked up and went home early, so we're good. It's a good day. Okay, that's not any better. I am so confused.
I'd say go with
it is
go
what
with the
it
vertical position. I think it's fine.
So
I'm sorry for starting that. All right, let's roll, guys.
Well, anyways, welcome, Nancy Pillow.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Right.
Hey, so are you? I don't know if you heard this, but there's a lot of teams coming to that race next weekend at Malvern. Are you ready for that?
Yes and no. Bookwork wise, yeah, we'll be ready. I'll be ready. We're at 149 teams right now. Right. So that's the most I have ever dealt with, me personally. I just want everything to work out smooth. I want everybody to go smooth. I want everybody to be safe, everybody to be happy, everybody to have their memberships. All the things. I'm still taking memberships. The deadline today to buy your memberships, to get in for members pricing. I have been swamped today. It's just been a real busy day. So
that's why we planted this meeting on Tuesday, the 13th of May, so that we could make sure we infringe on your all the deadlines, so that as people are blowing up your phone while we're probably on this meeting, but that's all right. But we appreciate you being here, and I guess the first thing that we've got to ask, because listeners may not know, what exactly does the secretary of the Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association do?
Okay, my job is, but it's not limited to, Keeping the minutes of the meetings, organizing the general meeting, keeping the minutes of the board meetings. When it would get ready for races, I take all the call-ins. I make sure everybody's a member. We sell memberships. And Rhonda Western helps me tremendously with that. We do membership cards. We take money. Jana helps me with Jana does the lineups. I help Jenna. We call teams. If we know a team's coming and they haven't called in for some reason, we're like, hey, are you coming? And we have to make sure, we know cook, driver, and outrider. What else did I do? Oh, weigh and measure. We have to keep up with weigh and measure. Make sure all the teams are measured. If they bring in a new animal, we have to, take care of that one. Let's see. Track contracts. We have to make sure all the tracks fill out their track contracts. We have to make sure all the tracks pay their sanction fees. Administrator of the Facebook page. That's me. If you message ACWRA, that's me. Anything that's posted on Facebook, that's me.
Good to know. If you guys message the ACWRA on Facebook, it's actually Nancy.
It's me. It's
so be nice.
Son
be very sweet.
ACWRA the other day. My kid messaged ACWRA the other day, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Who did?
Tyler.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And wanting to know if anyone needed any outrides for Sparkman. And I'm like, can you not just talk to your mama? Just call your mom. But
that's funny.
I don't know. And he knows. I don't know what he was doing. And basically, and also, corresponding with the buckle manufacturers, making, placing that big order every year, and just focusing on keeping our members happy and well informed.
Yeah. Well, you do a good job of that and all the other stuff too.
That was a long list.
And I'm sure I have forgotten. Janet talking about that today, and I read that list off to her, and she goes, "You do a lot more than that." And I said, "Well, that's all I got." So
that's all I can come up with.
That's all I got.
It sounds like a secretary position. Sounds like you kind of end up doing a lot of stuff that other people need done, and I feel like you always do a good job of it. And I think the bigger question, though, like that everybody's probably wondering, is how many board members have to die for you to become the president, actually?
I will not be president.
Oh, okay.
I will absolutely not hold that position. Don't want it. Don't want it.
So you're like, you tried to set it up to where you're far enough down the pecking order to that it shouldn't happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Don't want that position. Period.
Well,
I think Brad does an amazing job, and I do not want his job.
He does do a good job. Hey, speaking of Brad, maybe I think most people probably know, but if they don't know, Brad had a little accident a couple weeks back. How's he doing? Have you talked to him?
As far as I know, he's doing great. I talk to him probably 4 or 5 times a week. He's doing good. He's back at work. Everything with the doctor checks out good. So he's played it on, getting in the buckboard and doing his things at Whiskey Ridge. So everything looks good.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're all sending good thoughts to Brad. Hopefully he's got a full recovery and he's ready to ride here. Full disclosure, it was not a Chuckwagon related accident. It was a car accident, and he seems to be making a full recovery, and he plans on racing again soon. So that'll be next week at Malvern. He'll be back in the buckboard. So that's exciting. I was kind of curious, you were mentioning you've got family messaging you about racing and all that. You've got family in the race field. How'd you get started with racing? How does all this whole thing start for you?
Well, my husband, Kevin, and I have been together 20 years. He has been going to Clinton since 1999. He finally got the opportunity to race at Clinton in 2010 in the Fort Mule Division. And so that's where we started with that. Then we joined the ACWRA in 2015 with Keith and Rhonda. Keith and Rhonda are our very best friends, have been for years. And we joined as a family. And that's when Kevin and Keith and the kids started Chuckwagon Racing. So that's how we got into it. I love to wagon ride. I love to drive a pleasure team. I will not chuckwagon race.
Okay.
I am smarter than the average bear. And we have 4 kids, and with 3 out of the 4 racing at some point in time, there's lots of spills, there's lots of doctor visits, ER visits. Kevin's gotten thrown out of the wagon, been drugged. I'm not a fan. So I'll be the mom, and I'll be on the sidelines and be their biggest cheerleader, but I'm not getting in a race wagon.
You and my mom are on that same page.
I think that's got to be part of what makes it so fun to watch, is that, like, why would anybody do this?
Right.
Yeah. And so I mean, that is part of it. That's absolutely part of it. Just like PBR or anything else like that. I mean, it's something that most people probably would not do for, just because of common sense reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really fun to watch people go out there and do something that's just that insane. But,
right. Then get good at it.
Right.
That's pretty cool too.
Oh, Courtney came around that barrel at Tuscumbia, and she slingshot herself around that barrel, and I almost cried. I mean, she's so good. So, like I said, she's our daughter, and she's racing. Our granddaughter's racing. I mean, it's great. It's just a family thing.
Now, speaking of your granddaughter, I tear up watching Riley ride. I don't even have kids, and I don't know this child, but I get so emotional watching her. She is so confident, and she gets up there. She's just having the biggest time of her life.
That child has zero fear.
I can tell.
I can tell anything. So, except my paddle. So,
as she should be.
FYI, I bring it to the races. If you see it, if you see me, patting her booty with it, mind your business.
Hey, that's why she's so well behaved when we see her. Right. She's got her grandma back there with the paddle.
Trying to.
She's also a little salesperson at the Tuscumbia race. I was like filming some of the concert, and then all of a sudden, there's Riley down in front of me, just like standing there looking up at me, and she's like, "Hey, do you want some?" She said something like, "Do you want to sell some ice cream and popcorn?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think what she's asking is for me to go to the concession stand with her and get her some ice cream and popcorn. And I was going to do it because I didn't know that you guys were over there actually with a setup with not ice cream, but
snow cones, popcorn and
snow cones and popcorn. And I walk over there and I'm like, oh, okay, here's what's going on.
Right.
And I don't know why I didn't know about that, but sure enough, she got me to go over there and they were raising money for the youth, and I thought that was awesome. So I partook, and she was working it. She was out there pulling them in. She's hustling.
Well, and it was so funny because those little boys would go out there. Little J.D. Bradley, they would go out there with popcorn, and they would walk up to people and say, "Do you want some popcorn?" And people would take it, and they'd say, "Okay, give me money."
That's
and of course, they made, I think, right at $400 that Saturday night.
Whoa!
Saturday night alone?
On Saturday night, it's crazy. I mean, but our racers and spectators and people that are at the races have such a big heart for those kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those kids could probably ask for the moon and get it. So,
that is so. Sorry.
You go ahead.
That's just really good to hear after the banquet meeting last year, when people were trying to come up with solutions on how to grow the youth divisions and how to offer more awards, and then here we are.
We have 32 youth signed up to run at Whiskey Ridge next weekend.
Wow.
So we're dividing the youth up into 3 separate runs. The youth outriders will run first off. I mean, out the gate. They'll start the races, and then they're going to split up the youth ponies and run them, and then the youth mules and run them at separate times. That way, it kind of breaks things up a little bit. So,
well, heck yeah.
I love that you guys are kind of mixing it up a little bit, because with that many youth, not to take away from the youth, but I could see where that could become just a lot to kind of do all at one time. So split it up makes sense. I mean, that's going to be a long program with that many teams. I'm kind of curious, with that big of a program, how do you guys make that more digestible, and how do you see that afternoon going?
Hopefully it will go very smoothly. Keith, when they announced the teams to come out, our head judge Keith Westner has a stopwatch out there with him. So when they call the team, the first time they call the teams out, he starts that watch. Okay, when 2 minutes pass, if the teams are not out there, then he asks the announcer to do another call out. And once again, the third call out. So those teams actually have between 4 and 6 minutes. And if they're not out there, then we have to run that race. And with Whiskey Ridge having so many teams, we really would not like to have to wait that long. We really would like for everybody to be ready, on their A game. And I'm sure that's something that we're probably going to discuss at the drivers meeting on Saturday, just to try to stress the fact that if we do not continue to keep this rolling, we're going to be there till dark.
Yeah.
So,
it'll be helpful to have that nice sound system you can hear on all corners of the ranch.
Right. I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well, and we know that many teams can get through an afternoon because we've all been to Clinton. We've all seen 180 plus run in an afternoon, and we've seen it done at a high level. And I guess this is going to be the race, the association race, that's going to really basically force that, I guess, that accountability on the line, and and so it'll be cool to see that. It'll be and this is really a great example of a race where Keith is going to be down there, and there's no arguing. If he's telling you are running out of time, it's for good reason. This is a huge program. And I think it'll have everybody on their toes next weekend. So that's something I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the production go forward. And I know that they've got Justin Leggett that's going to be announcing as well. So there's going to be a little extra announcer power there. So as far as filling the air, filling the space with that big of a program, I know he'll do a good job of that too. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend. So you were saying that you started back in 2015 with the association, or with racing in general?
We joined the association in 2015. I actually started timing in 2016. And then was asked to take over the secretary position in the fall of 2017, back when John Willard was still president.
Okay.
And was officially voted in as secretary in January of 2018. So that puts me 9 years running the clocks, and this is going into my 8th year as secretary.
So how, in that span of time, call it about 10 years that you've been involved with the association, what have the highs and lows been? And I guess what I'm getting to is, we've got this insane amount of members this year, and how has that ebbed and flowed in the time that you've been involved with the association, and what do you think has caused that?
I think social media Facebook has really helped us. TikTok has really helped us. Anytime we can get it out there, and show people what Chuckwagon racing is about, is great. I'm trying to think. I don't have the numbers before 2020. So in 2020, we ended the year with only 289 members. So, but with that being said, looking back, ACWRA itself it was formed in 1991. Man. with like 17 members. So that's all they had. Like I said, I'm not sure about the numbers before 2020, but in 2020 we had 289 members, and then we steadily went up. Like 2021 we had 333, and then 2022 388, 23 468. Last year we had 564 at the end of our 2024 season. We're in 2025 and we've had 2 races. We've had Sparkman and Tuscumbia, and we have 638 members as of about an hour ago.
Cue the applause.
638.
Right.
And the end of last year was 564?
The end of last year was 564, yes.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I just love that.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we are absolutely growing.
It's a good thing we've got a board. It's a good thing we've got a secretary, and it's also it's cool to see that even in the time that I've kind of been affiliated with wagon racing, I've seen the ebbs and flows since, I guess it's been about 17 years for me, but the last about 3 years that I've been more around the association and have gotten my head around it. Seems like the board that's in there right now has been really good, really patient, really
Right.
open-minded to growth. What kind of relationship do you have with your fellow board members, and how do you feel about the board that you guys have right now?
Right now we have a really good board. Everyone gets along pretty well. I think I have a good relationship with all of them. I'm a little bit closer to some of them than I am others, but it's only because a lot of times our jobs go hand in hand. Like I said, with Jana and I, I take the call-ins and then I'll send her what I have. And then, if this team's not on the list, she's going to reach out to them. And we talk about what teams we want, to go with who. And people will call me and say, well, I want to race so-and-so, or I need to be in this heat or that heat. So Jen and I talk quite a bit. Of course, Brad and I talk quite a bit. Everybody brings a lot of their own creative ideas and opinions to the table. At the end of the day, our main job is to just do what's best for the members and do what's best for the association as a whole. A lot of the people think that it's one person that makes the decisions, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, our board works hard to do the right thing for all of our members. So, and it's always a board decision.
Yeah.
So it may not be the most popular opinion, and it may not be the most popular decision, but it's always a board decision. It's not one person or two people that are making the rules. So
yeah. Well, and I know you guys have expanded on the youth stuff this year, and I know that, and at the very least, it's been some different roles kind of being filled there between Julie and Courtney, your daughter. How do you feel about like the youth initiatives that are happening this year? What do you think about all that?
The youth, this year's youth is just blowing my mind. I mean, it is crazy. The youth division it was started up, and the gentleman that started it up kind of started it and left. So Kevin and I just basically took it over, and not because we wanted to, but because out of necessity, because someone needed to. And we were just basically providing prizes. And then Janice stepped in and took it. And then, but when the opportunity came, and Courtney and Julie, we were talking about a youth committee, and they absolutely jumped in and took off running. I am so happy that they're doing it. And that's one thing off my plate, but I think they're doing an amazing job.
It's really cool to see when you get a couple of people on the right seat on the bus, just how much sense it makes. It's just like, man, those guys fit. And, we had them on the show several weeks ago, and then going to the first couple of races, seeing those guys in action, what they're doing, seeing the youth get so involved. I mean, it's it really changes the way that, my perspective on the youth, even though I've been very optimistic, and I really do believe in the future of the sport, but just seeing the actual productivity that's going into the youth division this year is such a relief for the sport, and it's such a promising thing for the future of the sport.
Right. And they're even doing like at Tuscumbia, they're doing birthday parties. I think they do one a month for everyone who has a birthday in April. At Tuscumbia, they had birthday cake, and I mean, it's just something that has never been done before for these kids. But it also, instead of these kids just racing, it's getting the kids together so they can interact with one another and play and get a chance to know one another. Because
really form that strong community bond early.
It absolutely is, and it's a great thing. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm excited to watch these youngins grow up and see what they do then too.
Right. So
awesome. Well, kind of looking at the future of the sport, we see the youth getting involved. We see the numbers going up in the association. You've been involved for the last about 10 years. I'm curious to know this growth that we're seeing now. How is it different than maybe the growth spurts that have happened in the past for Chuckwagon racing?
That's hard. Right now, I see lots of positive growth. I see lots of possibilities. The tracks are getting bigger. The prizes are getting better. Everyone seems to be getting just a little bit more professional about, how they look and what they race. And, it's, and I guess that's what I'm seeing. I'm saying possibilities. I'm excited about where we're going.
Yeah.
It's always move forward, go forward, not backward. So, I'm just seeing a lot of positive growth. I'm excited about where we're going. I know we have 10 races this year. I don't know about how many more tracks per year we can handle. That's
right.
It's a lot.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, and I know the other thing with 2025, having 10 tracks, I guess, I don't want to say it's the lesson that you learn, but it's the experience that we're getting this year is that, holy crap, a couple of these early races are having to get postponed.
Right.
And then you really start to crowd the track, if you know what I'm saying. Pun intended. You're looking at these races are going to end up being back to back in some places, and you hate to see that because you don't want another race to be affected in a negative way for their turnout.
Right.
But you also, you look at the packed year and it's exciting. There's a lot of Chuckwagon racing happening. And then when you see Malvern next weekend and you see how many teams there really are out there, how much potential there is to fill up, not maybe one race, but even two races or 2 weekends in a row. It just, it gives me a lot of hope. And that's something that I think has been a huge concern forever, really, in the sport, is like, will there be enough race teams? And I think we're seeing that the answer is going to be yes. And hopefully,
absolutely.
And it might even, these are growing pains, and these are growing pains that create logistical problems, but they're good problems to have. And it's exciting for me because I've been talking to the other track owners, because we're trying to figure out what we're going to do at their race and what we can do for them and everything. And we've got some new tracks this year. I was talking to Brian Reel from the 11 Point Showdown, who's putting that race on in Pocahontas, Arkansas. And he's got some really good help that's going to be helping him grow his venue and grow his event. And I just think that that's going to be an awesome race. And then I was talking to Chase Outlaw earlier today, and we'll be at their race, and they've got, it speaks for itself if you've seen anything that Chase has done with the Chuck and Buck down there at Clinton, and he has a lot of connections, from being in the professional bull riding area, and he's got sponsors, he's got all these things lined up. I think with that being the last race of the year, combined with everything that Chase brings, you're looking at a huge event there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another couple of events even this year that get close to this Malvern number that we're seeing.
Right.
So that's crazy exciting. That's awesome.
Right. And we love our out of state races as well. But when you have an in state race and it's close to home, everybody wants to come.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing that with Whiskey Ridge. Whiskey Ridge is an hour from my house. I know it's in Brad and Jana's backyard. I get it. They're like 15 minutes from home when they're at Whiskey Ridge, but us only having to drive like an hour and 10, 15 minutes is great.
Yeah. So, it's a crazy good feeling. That's how it is for us here in Nevada, Missouri, driving over to, everybody calls it Baker Spain. It's actually called the Goat Ranch over there in Greenfield, Missouri. And It's about an hour for us, and that's the only reason we could take on another show this year, like we're doing. We're filming a series that will chronicle them building up to their event and everything this year, and that's the only way we could possibly do it. Because if we had to drive, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours to get to another track, like there's no way we could do all that coverage, whereas Clinton, we're there for like 8 or 9 days.
Right.
And,
right.
We film a ton, and then we'll get a couple other pickups here throughout the year. But yeah, logistically, to try to go to all these races and make it, make it do the whole thing, pack up the whole house and go all the way there and spend the whole weekend or 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see where these Arkansas races are definitely going to stand a good chance of having a great turnout. I am curious to know, and as you see all these teams come in, we've kind of got these east of the Mississippi races that kind of go from Indiana all the way down to Mississippi and Alabama, and they're not all association races, but there are Chuckwagon races out there, and it's getting to the point that there's a handful of them. How do you see when you look at like a slate of like 150 teams, about how many of those are coming from over that way? Do you think that there's enough that that there could potentially be a second association or a split off or 2 leagues or whatever at some point in the near future?
We have kind of that has been mentioned just briefly at one point. I'm not sure that we're ready for that yet.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the thing is, okay, with that being said, I'm afraid that with that being said, if we try to do that, like an A track, an A tracks and B tracks, or A teams and B teams, like you did in basketball and football as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What officials are going to go to which races, or are all the officials going to be required to go to all of the races? Which timers are we going to send to which tracks? Which there's a lot to discuss before we can even consider doing anything like that.
Yeah, it's a loaded question too.
It's a lot.
I appreciate
it is a lot.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate you taking a stab at the answer, because I know that it's a loaded question and it's a logistical nightmare. And actually, that's not even the stuff that I would think about. I mean, the first thing I'm thinking about is teams, but yeah, to think about the logistics of actually staffing a race, that becomes a whole other thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess I'll hammer down on the teams thing one more time, because I'm so curious about this, and I get excited about the future of wagon racing, and I think about could these races east of the Mississippi support really good turnouts, even if we have a lot of Arkansas races this year, and
we do.
And so how does that look, as far as the amount of teams? Man, this fly, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get this fly. It's in my face. Anyway, how do you see, with the growth of the sport right now, do you think that we're going to have 50 plus teams east of the Mississippi that could potentially fill in some races?
I think we would. I think we could. I don't have the exact number as far as how many teams come from the other side of the river, but we do. We do have several teams that do. I'm trying to think. Loretta Lynn's call-ins the one that was canceled was right up at like 70, 72. Their numbers were a little lower because it was so early. That event was scheduled. Some of the racing teams did not have their teams ready.
Yeah.
So and that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. But they have always been 60, 65, 70, up in the 70s, teams at their low points. So yes, those tracks now, West Kentucky, being now it's not the last race of the year now that we've added the Chase Outlaw race, but with it being, in the past, the last points race, everyone loves West Kentucky. Everyone loves the track. They always have a pretty big turnout. I'm thinking like 80s, 90s, in the for teams. So that, those tracks east of the Mississippi do well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The nice thing for West Kentucky is, that they were in that position. They kind of had the catbird seat there for a while. And I think that probably was really good for them foundationally, because I think that people want to go to their race, and they've built it up. They've built that race up to something that is very enjoyable. It's a very good cause with the St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Right.
I could see them taking a small hit, but I actually think that they'll still have a really good turnout. Last race or not, the points racers that are out there to get points, they still want to go to every race they can. They're still incentivized to do that. So I don't think that they'll lose much. And I actually think that with the teams we're starting to see popping up east of the Mississippi, I think that they'll be okay. And that's still pretty neat to see, though. It'll be interesting to see their turnout this year. And I think that, the teams are one part of it. If they have 50 or 60 teams, but they have a ton of people, there could still be an incredibly good race. Doesn't mean that it's going to fall off, but yeah, it's pretty neat. And then seeing the Trump Train team, how they've just gathered so many people out east of the Mississippi as well.
Right.
They travel so well, and so that's been pretty cool to see that. I do wonder what Gerald Burkhalter will do in the future with his event. It's I call it the Amish race, because there's just so many Amish that go to that race. But that's a cool one too. But yeah, oh man, I get excited about the future of the sport when you see all these races popping up, and you see that the people that are starting them are not like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They are all in, and I think that what they're seeing is the Malverns, the Baker Spains, the Tuscumbias, and they're seeing the success, and they're like, hey, I think we can do that. And if there was a template or a formula, I think that maybe in the past wasn't quite as refined or defined. And I think maybe that's starting to come about. Just it's a little bit more clear, and all the trade secrets are kind of coming out, and people are seeing what it could be, So I'm excited to see the new one. So what's the new race that you're excited to go to this year, and why?
The new, I guess it's going to be, I'm trying to think. Then I'm excited about the Pocahontas race. I heard it's beautiful up there. Kevin, my husband, is from Paragould. So that's just right down the road from, where he grew up and went to school. We're hoping to see, lots of family, some old friends that live up there. I'm really excited about the Chase Outlaw race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I think we'll have big numbers. We're hoping, Wade Pennington and I were talking the other day about just members and numbers. And I told him, I said, well, we're past 600. And he said, I'm hoping we'll have, close to 800 by the time the Outlaw race comes. So fingers crossed, you never know.
We're going to have to check back in with you around November and see if that number's been hit.
Yeah. It's pretty nuts to think about that. It's, yeah. So, not to throw Chase under the bus here, but when I was on the phone with him earlier today, he was like, man, I don't know if we have enough land for all these people to come in. I'm afraid. He's like, I'm trying to get land in everywhere that I can right now. He's like, I'm going to get 20 acres across the street for more camping from my neighbor. And he's like, you can put quite a few campers on 20 acres. And, he's feeling it. Like, I think he's going to be a busy guy, but they are all in, and they're going to put on a good show. I have no doubt. And I think that the 11-point showdown race is going to be really good too. I'm excited for that one. But yeah. So Savannah, do you have anything you want to chime in there with before I keep moving here?
I don't think so.
Well, I want to ask you just kind of off on a random tangent here. So what's one of the craziest situations you've ever seen as a board member with the ACWRA?
Well, first of all, I'm not a board member. I have never been on the board. I'm secretary and I'm timer, but I'm not a board member.
So secretary is not board. Okay.
No, secretary is not board. Secretary is officer.
Okay.
Yes. So
That makes sense.
we have 4 officers: president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, and then we have our 8 board, and then we have I think we have 6 alternates now. I don't have my list in front of me, but I think we have 8 board and 6 alternates. So it's hard because Jan and I were talking about that, and I mean, you see Rex, you see this, you see that. I mean, but nothing. But the craziest thing I've witnessed throughout my time was actually weather related. And we went to Viola, Arkansas, which is up on the Missouri border. We hadn't been doing this very long at all. Rhonda and I were timing. We were co-sanctioned with the Missouri Association. And going down there, we had tornadoes. It was muggy. It was horrible. It was rainy, tornadoes. And by Sunday, while we were timing the race, it was snowing.
Oh, wow.
And that was the craziest weekend ever. I mean, it was just unexplainable. I mean, we were not ready for snow. We were not dressed for snow.
Of course not.
So, I mean, it was April.
Yeah. So, that's Missouri. That's the little bit of Missouri crept in there.
There you go.
Lovely, and I'm here now.
We being on the track though, another situation with Rhonda and I at Tuscumbia, they had the finish line right up. There's a big tree out there, and that's where they usually have the starting barrels are right there, right around that tree. Well, the way they had the track set up that year, they had the finish line right underneath that tree, and Brian Leathers was so close to the finish line, he pinned Rhonda and I between the tree and the finish barrel. Scared us both to death. And didn't know who he was, had never met him. And bless his heart, on the way home, he's messaging me on Facebook. I'm so sorry. Please don't. I'm like, you're fine. But it just, I mean,
don't do that again.
He was really wanting to cross that finish line. So,
man.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah, you guys are right there where things get a little heated right at the end of the race. So you get to be a part of some pretty close calls. But I digress a little bit here, but I wanted to ask you before we get off of here, for those who want to become a member, part of the ACWRA, can you talk a little bit about what that looks like to become a member, what it costs, what the benefits are, and kind of just let people know?
To become an ACWRA member, all you need to do is fill out one of our membership forms. You can get online on our ACWRA Facebook page and download it. You can get on our ACWRA website and download it. You can message me on ACWRA Facebook page. I can email you one. It's $30 per member per calendar year. And that's all. I mean, that's all you do. You can send us a check. If you pay for it in person by cash, we take cash out, PayPal, Venmo, all the things. The only thing we do not take is credit cards. And to becoming a member gets you into any of the ACWRA sanctioned races, not Clinton. And a lot of people have asked, does that get us into Clinton? No, we are not. ACWRA and Clinton are two totally separate entities. But buying your membership for $30 gets you in the gate for any ACWRA sanctioned race for $30. And that's for the weekend. That's not per day. That is for the entire race weekend. So membership has its privileges.
That sounds like a deal.
Yeah, that's I mean, who knows if that'll last forever, but that's been a heck of a deal. And I love that that is a serious value for becoming a member. And then for me, my personal favorite piece of all of the value that it brings is that we get to go to the annual banquet meeting and get to enjoy all the fun that is right there in that weekend in January. I've only been the last 2 years, but I've really enjoyed that. And it's a great time for fellowship. You get to see all the awards go out. You get to see the kids get their awards. You get some music. Whoever is supplying the moonshine, I don't know who that is, but it's good. And yeah, well, hopefully I can figure it out and get to the source, because it sure is. It's fun. All those flavored moonshines, I'll tell you what. But those bootleggers. But I really appreciate you coming on the show today, Nancy, and thanks for sharing your thoughts and being so prepared like a good secretary would be.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wait, I've got 2 random questions now that we're into the random segment. Super last minute. Okay, so first question. You mentioned that was it 1991 the association started with 17 members?
Yes.
Of any of those original 17, do you know if there's still any existing members that have been here the whole time?
I do not know. Okay. Because I was not there.
That's fair. And then second question is, we see Riley and Danny, is it Danny from Trump Train?
Yes,
together? And for the longest time, I thought he was her grandpa. So how did they get connected, and how did she end up racing with him?
They just, Courtney and Jordan. Well, we all love the Trump Train people. I mean, they're great people, and Courtney and Jordan just, visiting with them and camping by them and talking to them. I mean, I guess just in conversation, put the little girl in the mule wagon. So, and she has got to be exhausted when she gets out of that wagon, because she screams the whole way down the track, and she whips those mules or ponies the whole way down.
You see Danny holding on to her waist so she don't jump out.
Well, and I know Danny with the mules and Jordan with the ponies, I know they have both got to be exhausted, because she is absolutely wearing them out.
Oh, yeah. Hanging on.
Track. So.
Well, all those Trump Train folks are good people. And that's, yet another new event that I just think is going to see success because of the people behind it, the support that it already has. I mean, it's an outlaw race, but that Reggie Little outlaw race is going to be, it's going to have a good turnout. There's going to be racers there. It's a race built for the racers. And they've also said that everybody in the association that they've talked to has been really, really supportive, really awesome. I know Courtney said that she'd probably be there timing or whatever they need her to do.
Yes.
She's totally on board.
I know Wade and Julie are going. I think Jana's going. I think there are several of our ACWRA people going. Either to race or watch or help, or I'm taking the call-ins. I told them I would take the call-ins for them.
That's awesome.
So, whatever we can do to help them, we're all for it.
That's really cool. Well, based on everything I've talked with Trent Little a lot, and he's said he wants to be the sandbox. He wants to be that place that if the association has anything they want to try out that they are afraid to have to implement across the board, try it out. Try it out down there, and that's where I'm gonna try out being an announcer. So just sandboxing.
Race wagon. I think you need to get in a race wagon.
I'm sure you think that. I'm sure a lot of people think that.
Because I'm not getting in a race wagon. So
yeah, I'm sure a lot of people that don't like me probably think that, and it's
right.
It's probably not likely right now. We're about to have our third kiddo, and it's
See, that's where you're on the same page as I am. I'm a wife, and I'm a mama, and I'm a grandma. And no, I have too many responsibilities.
And here I am over here considering, like, man, could I do that? Do I want to do that? I don't have anything else going on.
If I go down and get hurt, you just see the Chuckwagon channel just shut off. Like the TV just shuts off. No more Chuckwagon channel.
So maybe you don't need to get in a wagon, David.
No, and Savannah can't either because I rely on her too much now. So it's impossible.
Right.
Well, someone's got a horse for me to borrow. I will gladly trail ride with you guys.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all on the same page here.
I've been banned from the wagon.
Oh well. Like I said, I love to drive a pleasure team. I mean, that's a great time.
It is a good time.
Load the ice chest, ride the roads. We're good to go.
Speakers.
But running them, I have no interest. No.
Well, we can't really afford to lose you either. We know you're a great secretary. You do a lot of things a lot of people don't recognize, and we appreciate you from the whole Chuckwagon racing community. We appreciate you.
I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, we thank you for everything you do. We thank you for coming on the show, for shedding light on things that we have questions about, for taking time out of your busy day on a day when there's a deadline that people are trying to meet to become members. So it's too late by the time they hear this, but maybe for the next race, they can become members if they're not yet and get that awesome value for being an ACWRA member. ACWRA.org, if you guys want to go check that out. A lot of good information there too.
Yes.
But Nancy, thanks for being on the show. And we're going to shut it down here. Whenever we let you off of here, just hit that leave button. Don't close the app. leave the app open, and we'll let you know when it's finished uploading.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Nancy. We'll see you out on the track.
Bye-bye.
That's awesome.
God bless.
That's a super, super good conversation. She was so prepared. I love that.
I know.
She's a nice lady.
A very nice lady.
I appreciate her.
Can't believe she almost got smacked in a race.
Oh, I can believe it. I go out there sometimes with the camera, and I basically hide behind them so I can get the finish line, because I know it would have to go through them and the side-by-side to get to me and the camera. But
you just admitted to using poor sweet Nancy as a shield.
I like to think that if it came down to a close call, I would pull her backward and get her out of harm's way.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Wow.
I did.
Sentiment.
I did do that in one situation that I kind of got myself in at the 2023 Chuckwagon races at Clinton, when I had one of our interns out there in the field down by the barrels, and it was during the big mules, and sure enough, it's Jana driving her team, and they go around the barrel, and I'm like, they're going pretty wide. We're going to be in their way. And
I'll go in no stop.
It was too late at that point for us to just get out of the way. And so this intern, he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, we're going to have to move. And I start to go to push him to run back toward the crowd. And then I grab him and I hold him there, because if you start trying to be a moving target, it just makes it confusion for both parties. But if you stand there and the mules see you, theoretically, they might go around you, which, thank goodness, we stayed where we were and they went wide of us. And it was close. It was closer than it should have been. And I was very thankful that nothing bad happened there. But I also patted myself on the back a little bit. I was like, that was the right call. You got to stay where you're at sometimes and let them move a little bit. But we won't be there again. We also got scolded by a couple people in the crowd, which made us feel really stupid. But anyway, all right. Well, let's wrap it up here. So make sure you make sure. Oh my goodness,
the hat.
We didn't ask her about a hat that she wants. I have to get back to her on that. We have our new hats.
We got all the colors.
We've got all the colors. We've got a turquoise with a gray front. We are running really low on these.
Jana, there's your hat.
Yep. We've got the green with the white back. We've got the red with the white back. We have another one. This is the gray that I'm wearing that I kind of like, with the kind of like a baby blue, but the full color on the badge. And then we've got the full color baby blue front with kind of like a tan. This is like your church hat, I guess. So
County Line Bunch, we've got your colors.
Yeah, we've got some different colors.
And then I'm over here repping Bar BS red.
Oh yeah, yep.
Uh-huh.
And Savannah jumped on that early, and so we've got hats. So we'll be traveling with those as we go to the new races, to all the races this year, to each race we go to, I should say, and they're $20, and we'll also have T-shirts. And so stay tuned. We might run some specials where we sell the T-shirts and the hats for a discounted price as a bundle. You just have to be around and ask me about it, or else be paying attention to Facebook and wherever we post this stuff. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. Have a wonderful weekend. We're excited to bring next week to you, and we're going to be talking about Malvern. We're going to be talking about the race lineups. I actually think our show is going to come to you live on Thursday from Malvern. So be tuned in the afternoon that day. Thank you for tuning in, supporting what we do. We will see you out on the track.
I really hope people actually watch to the end to get to the outtakes, because I think they're funny. Huh? Oh, I've been recording. Okay, I'm going to ask you a weird question real quick, but can you turn your phone horizontal?
This way?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
And then we'll all match you.
Okay, absolutely.
Only
Well.
downside is it probably won't change. So,
Huh.
what if we when she comes back, we're just going.
Oh, but I gotta stay straight.
Nancy, can you see us?
Okay, that's not any better. I'm so I'm just it is what it is. So
I'd say just go with the vertical position. I think it's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry for starting that. All right, let's roll, guys.
Yeah, it is what it is.
One of these days, we're gonna figure out exactly how to fix that problem.
How are we going to fill all that time we use fixing technical difficulties?
Yeah, you're right.
Thanks for